you may have done may have helped with the timing, right? I think you.
What's that?
I think you tipping off Big U. I think that definitely.
I did what?
I think you going online and saying that, and the only reason I'm saying this is that if you ever read any federal indictment,
I did what? I tipped him off.
Tipped him off via
What
online.
did the lady say in the recording I sent you?
Well,
please don't what?
Please don't tell. But this is why I'm coming to.
This conclusion seems like everyone just has something up against Wack100 cause 50 Cent went off Wack100 for snitching on Big U, which reportedly led to his indictment, with even rumors of Wack100 might being wired up to get rappers. But look, before anybody gets all in their feelings, let's be clear, this ain't me making allegations. I'm just walking you through what the streets are saying, so please spare the messenger. Now, it all starts with a phone call. According to what Wack100 admitted himself, he made a very specific and critical phone call, not to Big U, but to Big U's wife, warning him about the federal indictment that was coming for Big U. Wex seemed to know the exact timing of when the feds were going to move in.
You hit up Big U's wife. You said, sis, 911. One sec, let me get solo. And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, one sec, let me get solo. He needs to leave. Bad. In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said so bad, right?
Yeah, full bad.
What the 600 saying is 4 roll of 60 telling on it.
All right, so Wack, let me ask you.
Oh, so that's what the 4 bad means.
What you talking about? Your little brain,
Let me
nigga?
ask you this, Wack.
Go to talking. Now, I just sent you a clip. Play the clip. You're going to hear the people saying, don't say nothing. Don't tell nobody nothing. Don't say nothing. So which one you want? If he wouldn't have said nothing and y'all found out knew, you would.
Now hold up, who outside the system knows that much about a sealed Fed operation, and more importantly, what kind of person makes that kind of warning unless they're informed from the inside? This is the point where 50 reportedly started connecting the dots, and when you really think about it, that rumor about he was wired up starts sounding way less like internet talk and way more like something to take seriously. But the thing is, even before 50 threw his weight in, Suge had already tried to sound the alarm. Suge had reportedly warned Birdman to watch Wack100, because according to Suge, Wack is the one who is on the Fed's payroll.
I told you I'm doing my movie I talked to you, and I told you I want you to ball in it. But I'm not fucking with that circuit dude. That dude lied, baby.
Every aspect shoe warning hits differently when you realize he knew Wet from years in the game, and then this whole Big U situation came up. The 43-count indictment hit like a sledgehammer. RICO charges extortion, wire fraud, and a whole list of heavy offenses. The feds also mentioned Big U is tied to a 2021 case involving the unaliving of a young musician, RW, but that piece didn't show up anywhere in the full 75-page indictment. Why Word is Nevada is handling that part separately, but here's what really got people's attention. The feds were literally pulling Wack100 Clubhouse rants and podcast clips as part of the evidence in that case.
And it sounded good. But if you pull the indictment up, which we have it, is 75 pages of what they're actually indicting him on.
Right. I mean,
Nevada's gonna
take that. Okay, so there's a RICO count.
That's when academics peeped. At first, academics didn't hold back either. In an interview, he told what directly he believed he tipped off Big U.
I will say, some of what you may have done may have helped with the timing, right? I think you.
What's that?
I think you tipping off Big U. I think that definitely.
Now here's where it gets even wilder. Wack didn't deny it, he laughed. That's not the type of response you give when your name is being thrown around in a federal situation.
Listen, you're saying certain. I know you spoke to, or you had some information from the fam. Like, this is like, you should only know this if you're doing the investigation. But I get it. They told the.
Now, this isn't the first time folks have allegedly been looking at Wack100 as a rat. Let's rewind the clock to 2006. Back then, Wack100 and his brother got pulled over, and Texas authorities found loaded heat mags and more in the car. While both men were convicted felons, this should have been an easy federal case. But somehow the whole case got dismissed 5 years later in 2011, not because of bad evidence, not because of a bad search. The motion to suppress was in fact denied. Instead, the case got dropped under something called the interest of justice. And if you know courtroom lingo, that phrase usually means one thing: cooperation. That alone had people looking funny at Wack. And after that, his access just blew up suddenly. He's showing up everywhere, managing big names, dropping exclusive info, speaking like he got eyes and ears in every room. Meanwhile, people close to him started catching charges. But the funny moves didn't stop there. Reports say Wack was caught on a federal wiretap. Yep, a recorded call with a dude named Stutterbox, who's allegedly connected to a much larger case tied to the main street mafia Crips. And what was Wack doing on that call? According to several sources familiar with the paperwork, he wasn't just talking, he was connecting dots. Some folks are even suggesting he was the one helping the feds piece the whole thing together.
What's Stutterbox?
Man, put that on Pyro.
But
Put that on
that's
Pyro.
Stutterbox
That's
called
gonna be
my
another
phone.
story we gonna talk about
Hey,
later.
what's Stutterbox got to do with something?
I'm talking about that paperwork. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
You saying I'm on paperwork?
Bro, am I lying? Put that on
Are
Pyro,
you
you
saying
not.
Wax on paperwork?
Put that on Pyro, you
Put
not.
that on 6-0 Wax
on
on
6-0
paperwork.
Crip, you on paperwork. Put that on
On
Pyro,
6-0,
you
you
not.
put that on
He put it on
6-0.
6
Now
on
you gotta
episode
produce
60.
it.
Put
Now you
that on
gotta
Pyro
produce
that you're
it.
not on that case.
Produce it.
Put that on Pyro that you're not on that case.
You know I'm the one got told on,
Put
right?
that on Pyro
On
that you didn't make
Pyro, I ain't on
statements.
none of them cases.
Put that on Pyro, you didn't make statements.
This ain't the first time whispers like this circled around him. Remember, when he and Birdman were tight, they even ran Cash Money West together. But things changed when Wack began managing Tekashi 6ix9ine. For a man already accused of federal cooperation, linking up with 6ix9ine was career suicide in the streets. In an interview, Wack said Birdman pressed him about the whole situation.
You know, I'm a dude to keep it 100. You know, ain't nobody bigger than the politics. That's my brother, and we get on each other. But Birdman, out of everybody, Birdman had got on my ass, like, on me. He told me how dissatisfied he is. He said, I love you, you my brother. I ain't never going to know that. We done been in the trenches together. But God damn it,
Now Birdman didn't go wild or make it public, but people noticed the way he started moving different, kept things distant. And that's all we need to know. But here's where it loops back to 50 Cent. Wack manages the game, and everybody knows about the history between 50 and the game. That beef was a mess. And instead of squashing it quietly, Wack started stirring it back up. He went on platforms talking greasy. He'd been straight up calling 50 out, saying wild things like 50 is not really from the streets no more, and that he's protected by the industry. He even said 50 got to check in whenever he lands in LA, basically suggesting that without clearance, 50 ain't safe in the West.
came in, I swear it was 50 and like 2 people. He was like 3 or 4 deep. Radio guys, like regular. So when I went over there, I said, yo, check this out. He's like, Wack, what's up? I said, man, game in the alley, 50 deep. It don't make sense for you to restrict him from coming in, and then you gotta come out, and you got 50 out your way.
Now, Wack wasn't just talking reckless for no reason. There was a whole incident he brought up. He said him and his people pulled up to the SLS hotel trying to get at 50 directly.
Beverly Center, we thought we did. Somebody called us, told he was up there. I got up there. He came in.
How deep were you?
About 15.
15 people.
Yeah, we wasn't that.
When they got there, according to Wack, it looked like a military operation. He claimed 50 had a security team so heavy it felt like they rolled with Navy SEALs holding machine firearms. That visual alone had folks online clowning, like, why would he even admit that?
You had Navy SEALs with him. 2 in all directions. Probably was about 6 of them. Walkies in their ear, vested, strapped to their thigh, bullies on them, semis on them, magazine cartridges. I said, yeah, he ain't slipping.
Today's not the day.
Nah, 50 moved.
The Big Meech and BMF talk came back into play. What had more to say, he went off about 50's portrayal of BMF in the media, said 50 is squeezing BMF dry, like he's milking the whole story for profit.
He helped build BMF up to the magnitude that it's viewed upon in the world today. And I think he's already squeezed it for what he's gonna get. I think right now he's trying to burn it down.
But here's where it gets real strange. While Wack's been all over the place tossing jabs left and right, 50 been dead silent. No slick Instagram captions, no power memes, no trolling. And for someone who built an entire brand off internet smoke, that silence was loud. That's when the whispers turned into real talk. According to several sources close to the situation, the silence ain't just strategic, it might be survival war. Is 50 believes Wack is too close to some federal heat, that maybe, just maybe, Wack is trying to bait him into a situation that could get legal fast. And just when the internet started catching on to that theory, the Big U indictment drops. That's when all the pieces started looking like they really fit together, because suddenly there's this massive federal Rachel Case 43 counts deep, naming 18 members of the Rolling 60s. Now guess who wasn't on that list? Wack. But here's the part that got everybody's side eyeing. His voice is reportedly all over the supporting paperwork. This doesn't make a lot of sense, because if you're that deep into the convo, but not on the indictment, that's when the questions start flying. Then Wack came through with another bombshell. He claimed that Adam, 22, founder of No Jumper, also got caught up in the whole RICO case. Now remember, Wack's a regular on the No Jumper platform, so this hit close. Wack called into the show himself and said he'd just gotten off the phone with his attorney. He was trying to get him down there quick, like he didn't want Adam doing any unnecessary talking. According to him, they came and picked Adam up that same morning and then circled back again.
What's up, man? I just called my attorney, try to get him down there so Adam don't be doing no telling, bro.
Man, they saying Adam locked up, all on the blogs. What's going on?
They came and got him this morning, bro. They
Then Wack threw in something else. He admitted he didn't know exactly what the feds were on at him about, but he was sure they were pressing him about something.
I second he don't have to, but they own him about something, bro. I don't know what they own him about, but they own him about something. And I don't know if they was trying to get something out of him, but I'm pretty sure come 4 o'clock, he gonna be here. My attorney, me that they're gonna definitely have him at 30 at the latest. So he'll be here at 4 o'clock. I'm pretty sure he's gonna have a lot.
Just when it looked like things were getting wild, Adam, 22, stepped in and shut the whole thing down. Said flat out he wasn't arrested. He also didn't waste time throwing some shade, saying Wack's got an overactive imagination, and made it real clear he's not under investigation and he's not in any trouble for now.
To be totally real,
What do you mean?
He called me. I told him exactly what the Fed said. I told him, like, don't say anything. And then his way of not saying anything is to call into the news and basically put forth a completely misleading narrative, because, you know, he just loves to cause chaos and everything. And from my perspective, okay, let's go viral. Sure, post whatever. I don't care.
It did help though.
Y'all seen my face in here
Like,
when that
bump?
nigga Wack was on the phone.
Yeah,
I mean, bro, if I was arrested, I feel like you
bro,
guys
that
would
nigga at
probably know.
home.
But then he hit us with something that's low-key even more interesting. He admitted that the feds did show up at his place and spoke with his lawyer. According to Adam, the feds really wanted to get their hands on a cease and desist letter they received from Big U about a year ago. Yeah, the one demanding they take down a podcast episode where loose cannon supposedly said Big U had prior knowledge about what was going to happen to Nippy before it actually happened.
That was the only contact I've had, was the situation that I described last night, where basically the feds came. All they wanted to do was drop off the subpoena for a cease and desist.
So where did Wack get the "you were locked up" thing at?
I was just trolling, and then they just ran with it. They made a clip out of it. And it is what it is. It's not. I didn't even have communication with anybody in order to turn over anything. All they want is like one email. So to me, it's like pretty simple, cut and dry thing. You know, it's like my lawyer did tell me, like, you probably should not antagonize them, which I had no plans on. But
I mean,
that's my one note.
Interview 13:19/14:04. Antagonize the feds. Adam also made it clear that there's nothing about the letter in the original indictment or criminal complaint, so to him it's suspicious and really makes them wonder what exactly the feds are looking into when it comes to Big U. That's when the spotlight shifted right back to Wack100's, because he's the one who originally tried to drag Adam into all this mess. But the problem is Wack himself ain't on that indictment either, yet he knows a lot. And that's when the internet started moving heavily on him. Folks started calling him Rat100, and the comments weren't holding back at all. One user said, Wack is a terrific informant, man of many talents, snitching being one of them. Another said, I never saw a so-called G that knows so much about the feds. That's not just jokes, it's years of suspicion boiling over. It's kind of weird that someone with no badge knows exact federal details right down to who's talking. And when so, what's your take? Do you think all these allegations thrown at Wack100's true? Sound off in the comments. We're checking every single one. And if you're rocking with these real street stories and no fluff breakdowns, smash that like, hit subscribe, and click our next video to catch more just like this.